Hello and welcome to another Toon Network Takeover update. It's been a very long time since I felt there was enough progress to make a third instalment of the latest takeover efforts over 2018/2019 that it is now. The Chronicle just released an article whereby they say they have received a letter, dialogue communication between Peter Kenyon and Mike Ashley over the last fortnight, which reaffirms Kenyon's desire to buy the club and to buy the club quickly. Mark Douglas has broke this, and this can be construed many ways. I mean, what the letter does say is that, or becomes apparent, that it insinuates that no price has been agreed. So let's just nail that one to the mast at the very start of this video. No price is yet to be agreed. However, the noises coming from Kenyon directly seem very, very encouraging and do speak of Mike Ashley declaring that he's, out of all of the suitors, I mean, we don't know if there are 4 suitors. We don't know if there are even any beyond Peter Kenyon. We know Peter Kenyon is definitely 100% solid, every intention to buyer of Newcastle United at the minute. It's whether they've been working on due diligence, going through the books for weeks now. A lot of fans getting restless with regards to the January transfer window. I don't believe a deal will get finished before the end of January. But for me, it's about this deal going through it at all. And there's a few things, there's a few reasons why I believe it will happen, and this is kind of strengthened what I believe, how I believe this will play out. So Kenyon's reiterated that he's been told by Mike Ashley that Mike Ashley sees Peter Kenyon's consortium as the best fit of all. Now, it will absolutely be the best fit if they're the only if they're the only consortium genuinely in. We haven't heard anything. We haven't heard anything from these other consortia, so we don't know enough about them to speculate or comment. But we have heard a lot about the Peter Kenyon consortium looking for American investment, yet to agree a price as it stands. But just a few words on what this letter is saying. So basically, I know I speak for both of us. This is coming from Kenyon to Ashley. I know I speak for both of us that we continue to share serious determination to finalise the agreement we have to suit both parties as soon as possible in the new year. So this is probably come at the very end of December, I'm assuming. We have both spent many months discussing the parameters of the final deal, and as you know, we have also invested heavily in time and money on our various legal and financial advisors. So what Peter Kenyon is saying is that he spent a lot of money and a lot of time and effort to get to where they are, for it to be worth them just walking away now. I feel that he's fully committed to this because of how much he's already invested in this deal. That's what, reading that at face value, and whether you trust Peter Kenyon's word or not, I don't know. I don't know the guy well enough, but I know he's got a good standing in the game. He's worked for top Premier League clubs before. I feel he's very credible, certainly compared to somebody who we've never heard of. At least Peter Kenyon is a football man, which is something the club has lacked for the last 12 years. But what this also suggests, when he says we have, what he's saying is he's giving a nudge to Mike Ashley to say, you have also spent money on this. You have also put a significant time and effort to sell. And this is really, really good news, because out of all the previous 3 apparent attempts of takeovers under Mike Ashley to buy him out, it always sparked the big question: has he ever been a willing seller? Has he ever actually wanted to sell the club? Now, I do believe he wanted to sell it to Staveley, Amanda Staveley last year, but I personally think he didn't like her, or he didn't trust her on a personal level. I think things got public and quite erratic publicly too soon, and I think that ultimately killed the deal, and I don't think he wanted to. And twinned with that, I don't think her deal was quite as much as he wanted. So it's almost like he could afford to turn that down, because he didn't want to sell to her, I don't believe. He didn't want to give her that satisfaction, because he's stubborn, and he felt he could have got a better price from her, which she wasn't willing to give. But if you fast forward 12 months, Rafa's out of contract in a few months, the team are struggling, the team massively need investment, and I think Mike Ashley's chips are down here, and quite literally in a fiscal sense, because he has always kind of relied in the last few years, certainly, on Rafa Benitez, his talent and class and ability to do a lot with very little resource. But he knows that if he doesn't invest in January or sell the club in the early part of this year, Rafa doesn't sign a new contract, Rafa walks in there, any job he wants, he'll go to a top job. Of course he will. It's Rafa Benitez. If we don't get relegated this year because of a lack of investment, we are guaranteed to get relegated in, if not next year, but the next 2 years tops, probably next year, because whoever we bring in summer as a replacement for Rafa Benitez, managerial wise, will not get what Rafa Benitez gets out of that squad. 100% will not. Obviously, it's a different story if if this new manager suddenly gets, like McLaren got, £80 million to spend. It's an unknown. I'd prefer Rafa Benitez in control of that much money, because he knows what's right for this club. He's a good fit. He's already proven his worth here. He's working with his hands tied behind his back, as Alan Shearer said. So this is probably Kenyon saying, let's just get this done. Let's get this done. And I think he knows that Mike Ashley has his back to the wall, because when we do get relegated in the next 2 years, which I'm 99% sure will happen, if Rafa Benitez goes and we don't get taken over and he doesn't, and Ashley does, I mean, even if Ashley does release some funds, he will not provide enough over the next season or two to keep us in the division. He just won't. Why would he change the habit of a lifetime? When we do get relegated, you won't have a world-class manager in Rafa Benitez. It's not going to be like 2016, when we sold Wijnaldum for 25 million, Sissoko for 30 million odd, Janmaat as well. We don't have anybody who's worth that much money. One of our best players, the goalkeeper, cost like 4 million, and his value's probably quadrupled by now, but that's still only 16 million. Do you know what I mean? You've got Lascelles as possibly the most saleable asset, yet his form's been terrible. Richie's going to be turning 30 soon. Kennedy isn't ours. Diarme is well into his 30s. We're getting into his 30s now, and out of contract. Your Shelby maybe you could sell, but he's not going to command more than 20 million. You've got Rondon, who isn't even ours. Do you know what I mean? You've got I don't know, we don't get that splurge of money. So, you know, Mike Ashley in the championship season only really put an outlay. He didn't spend more than 20 million net, because we'd sold the resource that we had in the squad, because we'd actually invested. Whereas now we haven't. We're windows and windows and windows behind even Bournemouth and even Huddersfield and Brighton. What We're so far behind these people. It's sickening, really. So we go down at the Championship, and the club's value, we've got a valueless squad. The squad's value is it's nothing. He can't sell. He has to put money in if he wants to ensure promotion again. But who's going to get us promoted? We've been very lucky twice that we've come straight back up. There's no guarantee. He knows there's no guarantee. He knows that if we didn't have Rafa in the Championship, we wouldn't have won it. It's a tough league. It's a really tough league. So this is why I'm optimistic that Ashley will sell, because he knows that he has a very, very small window, very short window over the next couple of months where Newcastle United will be the value of close to what he wants it to be. But as soon as we lose Premier League status, as soon as we lose Rafa Benitez, the big draw and the talent, who can do a lot with a little, what's he got? The club loses 50% of its value overnight. That's what happens. He has to sell now. And I think Kenyon knows that. And I think this is what this is. I think Kenyon is nudging him in a very respectful way. See, I don't think Kenyon, I don't think Staveley would have had the humility almost to... See, Kenyon, I think this is a bit of a power play from Kenyon, but he's doing it in a very respectful way, in which it ultimately it praises Mike Ashley. He thanks him for his... And I appreciate the time and effort committed to detailed discussions by your advisors, lawyers, club, and of course yourself. Mike Ashley's been involved, and he appreciates all that effort. I fully respect your desire to ensure the next owners of Newcastle United understand the club, football, and have the appropriate financial resources. I'm delighted that you think the investor group led by myself is the best fit. So Ashley has told Kenyon that, whether it was through solicitors and lawyers, I'm not sure whether it was actually direct, but that is what Kenyon has said, that Mike Ashley has said to him. And that is very, very, very encouraging. Because, why would Ashley say that? And why would Kenyon... It would be a bold ploy for Kenyon to come out and this whole letter to be bogus and all to be full of lies, because Mike Ashley would just sue him. Do you know what I mean? It's too big of a risk to lie. It doesn't make sense that he would lie about this. So I'm inclined to trust this coming out. I mean, it's a bit... I'm a little bit sceptical about the timing. It comes after the open letter from all fan groups yesterday. But it's the start of the January window. Pressure needs to be applied. Now, there were recently some noises that deal was possibly falling through because some or one or all of the parties, the many consortia that were in for Newcastle United at this time, wanted extra time for this deal to go through. And I wonder if that is, if there were rumours that any takeover talk had really stalled seriously and was on the verge of collapse. Again, maybe those rumours have been planted to give Ashley this nudge to say, we are more than willing to walk away and leave you in the shit here. We'll walk away, we'll find another club. He must know how desperate Ashley is to sell this time. And that's what gives me hope. And this letter sort of corroborates that possible situation, scenario, if you will. So Peter Kenyon continues, on my side I would like to personally assure you that I am committed to conclude our deal as soon as possible, and while we are both perhaps frustrated that we've not progressed as quickly as we would have wished, that's from both sides, I would like to express personal gratitude for your patience and integrity in this matter, and hope we can continue our discussions in the same spirit. Now, again, this feels a bit like Peter Kenyon's coming out to be the big man. He's the nice guy. So if anything fucks up now, it's all Mike Ashley's fault. So that could antagonise Ashley a little bit. But I don't think this would have been released if Ashley was being an unwilling seller, because it would kill the deal just dead. It's such a risky game to play. However, I feel like the chips are on Kenyon's side here, and he knows it, and he's kind of going for the kill calmly and respectfully, which, in a twisted way, Mike Ashley might actually admire. It's just my take on it. And you know, I'm recording this on Friday night at about 11 o'clock on the 4th of January 2019. The article kind of finishes, Mr. Ashley is still to receive a final satisfactory offer, but details of Kenyon's letter will offer fans more hope that a club sale in 2019 are potentially on the cards. It also understood that while Kenyon's group are leading the way, the other three interested parties have not been discounted at this stage. They might not have been discounted because they might not exist at all. So who knows? Who knows? I think it tops. There might be one other. I don't think there's four. I'd be very, very surprised if there's four. I think Kenyon's the one, and I think this is. Believe what you think. I'm just relaying the information to you and giving you my opinion on how I think this is going to play out. I think things could go really, really bad if Mike Ashley's stubbornness gets the better of him, for us and for him and for Rafa Benitez. The key thing is, you know, I think a big sticking point is January transfer window. Has Mike Ashley taken all the funds out to repay himself back these loans? So we've got no working capital for transfers? Wouldn't surprise me at all. Really, really, really wouldn't surprise me at all. Is there a way that Kenyon, if he was intending on doing the deal, could he pay it forward? Transfer funds? Give Rafa 50 million? Keep us up? Could he do that? Hopefully. I'm sure Man City did that years back when they bought when Sheikh Mansour took over Man City. I'm sure that's what happened. They paid it forward before the deal was actually done, but it had every intention to do so. It was just dotting I's and crossing T's. So that's going to have to be addressed, I think. But positive noises coming from Peter Kenyon's camp. He is not shying away from this. I mean, I think it's naive to think that he didn't somehow have any involvement in planting this in the media. I think he does, because he comes out as very much a respectable man who can do no wrong, and is basically saying to Mike Ashley, well, we want to do a deal, we want to get it done fast, we're both frustrated, we both put time and money into this, I'm sure we both want the same outcome. So that's very telling for me. I think that's very positive. But as ever, there'll be more updates as and when and if this ever happens. And if it does happen, I will see you down the monument with a box of cans, Bluetooth speaker, and let's have a fucking takeover party. I've been out on the Two Network. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, because you just should. You just should. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, bye.